नरघट तक है तेरी कहानी पग पग प्यारे दंगल 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 सूरज तेरा चढ़ता ढलता गर्दिश में करते हैं तारे दंगल 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 दंगल.
Great morning, my dear friends. Once again, I am here, myself Bhupesh, Anand. I will be taking your lecture number 2. Corporate governance, and the reading is reading 34. That is corporate governance and environmental, social and governance. So let's start with lecture number 2. So today I have already taken introductory lecture with you. So I will be starting with lecture number 2. I have denoted a number to this lecture, and that is lecture number 2. The subject is corporate finance. And within corporate finance, we will be discussing with reading 34. And when I say reading 34, I mean corporate governance and environmental, social and governance. So this reading I am doing with you, one of the most important and the latest edition of this CFA Institute. So lecture number 2, today I will be focusing on learning outcome A as well as learning outcome B. Hi, today's class will be very smaller class, so please write down something. So my first question to you will be, I have told you in the last class that what is the essence, why corporate governance has come into picture. Now I want to ask you rather, what is the meaning of corporate governance? As per you, what do you mean by the word corporate governance? We have discussed in the last class why it has been introduced. Now the concept is what is corporate governance? If I see the definition as per the manual issued by CFA Institute, I will show you that manual CFA Institute. I have the corporate governance of listed companies, a manual for investors. So I have taken the definition of corporate governance from this manual, which is being issued by CFA Institute. That is corporate governance for listed companies, a manual that what are the procedures to be taken into account, what are the checks to be taken into account, or what is corporate governance. When I say corporate governance, it is a procedure. Corporate governance is a system. It is a procedure of internal control. It is a procedure of internal control, and with the help of which individual companies can be managed. Very important point which I want to focus here is corporate governance. Corporate governance is a system. It is a system. It is a procedure. It is a system or it is a procedure with the help of which companies can be managed. Individual companies can be managed. How this company will be managed, how Apollo Tyres will be managed, how General Motors will be managed, how Colgate will be managed. So they must have developed some procedures. They must have developed some internal control. When I say internal control, it means it is internal check. That is, the work of one person is automatically get checked with another employee. Employee A is the work is automatically checked with B, and B work is automatically checked with C. So I will say this is internal check. And the system which build these internal checks, the procedures, that is named as internal control. And corporate governance is a system of internal control and procedures. Now, corporate governance give us a framework of 3 R's. 3 R's. When I say 3 R's, I mean rights, I mean roles, and I mean responsibilities. Corporate governance is giving rights, roles, and responsibilities. 3 R's: rights, roles, and responsibilities of different groups involved in that company, of different stakeholder groups involved in that company. That what is the role or what is the right of a customer, what is the role or what is the right of a supplier, what is the role or what is the right of shareholders, to explain the rights, the roles, the responsibilities of different groups, the different stakeholder groups. That is corporate governance. So corporate governance is a internal check, I can say. Corporate governance is a system to minimize the conflicting interest. I repeat my golden words. I have used the theme of this reading 34, and the theme of learning outcome A and B is to minimize and to manage the conflicting interest between the parties, because there can be so many different types of parties. The interest of one and interest of second, there can be conflict between these two. So let me start with, let me give you one example. You must have gone to a movie for for watching any movie, whether you have seen that there is an internal control automatically set in the system in any movie theater. Firstly, you will purchase a ticket from a counter. Then you will show that ticket to a gatekeeper. Then you will show that ticket to a person who is standing in the hall with a torch. It means automatically that ticket, that control, that check is being built up by the system. This is named as corporate governance, because there are different parties involved. Some are insiders and some are externals. Owners cannot manage their company. Owners have appointed board of directors, and board of directors, they have appointed senior management. So now there is a chain of different persons. So corporate governance is to satisfy owners, and to other stakeholders, so that the work is automatically get checked. It is a system of internal control, it is a system of procedure, it is a system of internal check. So I have given you an example of a movie theater or of any food mall. You purchase a coupon from one counter, you go to another counter, and the delivery will be from third counter. It means there cannot be any fraud in this, because automatically the work is being divided. So this system is internal control, and corporate governance is a system which consists of internal control and the procedures, because there are different parties involved. I will say there are insiders, and there are external people. When I say insiders and external, insider, what I mean by insider, I mean by insider that board of directors employees are the insiders. Now this is I'm preparing a stakeholder list. So when I say stakeholder list, there can be two bifurcations. One is internal and one is external. External covers shareholders, external covers suppliers, external cover customers, external cover government. All these are external, and these two are internal. So there can be a conflicting interest between internal and external. So to minimize that conflicting interest, mind you, I'm again and again repeating conflicting interest. To minimize that conflicting interest, there is a system of internal control, there is a system of procedures, and it is named as corporate governance. Now there are two types of theories in corporate governance that we will see. One theory is, I can say there are two schools of thought. As per first school of thought, corporate governance should be directed towards maximization of the objectives of shareholders. And as per stakeholders theory, I will say there are two schools of thought. One is shareholders theory. Second is stakeholders. Stakeholders, please sit straight. One is shareholder. Second is stakeholder. Stakeholder. So stakeholder and shareholder, they have conflicting views as per shareholders theory. Corporate governance should be directed to maximization of wealth of shareholders. And as per stakeholders, corporate governance should be directed to maximization of wealth of stakeholders, because they have different types of interest of one can be conflicting with another. I can say I have given the right to bondholder. Now the bondholder right, the interest can be conflicting with another. So this management is named as, the system which we developed is named as corporate governance. So my dear friends, you have to write down some smaller handwritten slides I have prepared for you, so we can easily cover, learning outcome A and learning outcome B. Very easy class. Lecture number 2, reading 34, corporate governance, environmental, social and governance, learning outcome A, and we will be covering with learning outcome B. Learning outcome A, just I have shown you what is describe corporate governance. And learning outcome B is what are different types of company stakeholder groups and what are the interest in that. So let me start with that. Let me start. First point, corporate governance is. Please, you have to write down. Please take out your registers. You must have prepared, you must have purchased the registers for corporate governance separately. So please write the first point. Corporate governance is described as a system of internal control. It is a system. This definition I have taken from the manual of investors. That is a publication by CFA Institute, and the name of that publication is the Corporate Governance of Listed Companies, which I have just shown you. So first point is corporate governance is described as the system of internal control and procedures. It is a system of two things: internal control, internally we are controlling, and procedures. We have built up the procedures, the roles, the responsibilities of a cashier, head cashier, and accountant. The role and responsibility of these three persons are different so that the work can be easily checked, and procedures by which individual companies are managed. So, my dear sir, this first point is very important. Corporate governance is described as the system of internal control and procedures. It is a system of internal control and procedures by which individual companies are managed. Second point, please write down. Please write down. Corporate governance provide a framework. When I say a framework, it means a outer circle of roles, three R's, of responsibilities, and of rights. So please write in second point, corporate governance provide a framework that defines the rights, the roles, the responsibilities of various groups within an organization. Roles, rights, and responsibilities of various groups within an organization. So third point is very important. What is the meaning of corporate governance at its core? When I say at its core, I want to manage, I want to minimize a conflicting interest. So that something is corporate governance. So please write on third point. At its core, corporate governance is the arrangement of checks, balances, and incentives of a company. A company needs internal checks, balances, incentives. Internal checks, balances, incentives. A company needs in order to minimize and to manage. So please underline conflicting interest. Conflicting interest. Conflicting interest. In between insiders and external outsiders. So I have just given you the example of food mall. I have shown you a cinema. Why the cinema tickets are being torn? You know, I have taken. Why is cinema ticket torn when you enter? Why cinema ticket is torn when you enter? So it is an internal control process. Why that they torn it when you enter? It is an internal control process, and all these answers are given to me. So please write down three examples I have given to you in any food mall in India, especially in Delhi. One Haldiram food mall is very famous, you know. We have to purchase cash. We have to purchase cash slip from by paying the cash in cash counter. Then that slip we have to take it to another counter, and then that slip again will be delivered. You know, the food will be delivered from another counter. So this is the internal check. So this system of internal control, of procedures to have, to minimize, to manage the conflicts of interest, that is corporate governance. So fifth point, there are two groups. There are two groups. One is insiders and second is externals. When I say insider, I mean board of directors, I mean employees, I mean internal persons. When I say external, I mean suppliers, I mean shareholders, I mean customers, I mean external parties, I mean government. So please write down fifth point. These groups can be divided into two groups. Employees, internal, employees and management, external, shareholders, customers, suppliers, government. So along with the learning outcome A, we are also covering learning outcome B. That what are the different groups? What are the different types of stakeholder groups? And what are their interests? The theme of reading 34 is corporate governance is a system. The theme, the core idea, the core word of corporate governance is to manage and to minimize conflicting interest. So I think you must have written 6 point. 6 point. Now please come to seventh. And you know, it is very important that even in the family, you know, the interest of one can conflict with another. The interest of brother can conflict with sister, or vice versa, as the case may be. So what is the role of father or a mother to manage that conflicting interest, to minimize that conflicting interest? This is the main role of seniors of family members, you know, father, grandfather, grandmother. So they are playing a role of corporate governance. They are making an internal control process that everyone has to reach home up to maximum up to 9 p.m. Everyone has to take a dinner along with all family members at 9:30. So these can be the rules. These can be the procedures. Every family member has to take the food from their home only. No outside shopping is there. No outside food is allowed. So this is rule. This is procedure. This is check. So it is internal corporate governance of a family. Similarly, there is a corporate governance of a company. So please write down 7 point. It is important to note that it is not necessary. It is not necessary. It is not necessary that best interest of all the different parties align with each other. Align with each other. There can be a difference. You know, when I say align, it means like this is alignment. When I say they do not align, it means like this. So to manage that conflict and to minimize that conflict, we will be naming as a system. We will develop a system which is named as corporate governance. So 8 point we have written in the context of this. We have seen there are two theories. So point number 8 is very important. In the context of corporate governance, there are two theories. The one is internal and the second is external. When I say internal or I beg your pardon, I did a mistake. There are two theories, shareholders theory and stakeholders theory. So please write down first 8 point, then I will start. Shareholder, 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 stakeholder, shareholder, stakeholder. There are two schools of thought. As per first school of thought, as per shareholders theory, they believe that the objective of the management, the objective of corporate governance, the direction of corporate governance should be towards maximization of wealth of shareholders. So ninth point, as per shareholders theory, corporate governance should be directed towards maximizing wealth of shareholders. And vis-a-vis, as per stakeholders theory, corporate governance should take interest. Corporate governance should take interest of all the stakeholders. When I say all the stakeholders, I mean government, I mean supplier, I mean customer, I mean shareholders. All are external. So like this, I have discussed what is the meaning of corporate governance and what are the theories of corporate governance. So let me start. Actually, I have already also covered learning outcome B, but officially I will be covering now. Unofficially, I have already discussed that what is a stakeholders group, how many types of stakeholders there are there, and what are the different types of interest of those stakeholders. So 10th point is, 11th point is, we will be discussing with learning outcome B also in this class. Company stakeholder group. The name of that learning outcome is company stakeholder groups and comparison of interest of stakeholder groups. So following can be the different types of stakeholder groups. One is shareholders. I have prepared the objective, the maximization. The objective is maximization of wealth. And the second is board of directors being appointed by shareholders. And they are the representative, they are working as agent because principal is shareholders. Appointed by shareholders to manage the business. Senior management appointed by board of directors, employees, creditors, suppliers. These are different stakeholders and they have conflicting interest, and to manage and to minimize their conflicting interest, and for that a system is being developed, a procedure is being developed, and that system is named as corporate governance. Be happy, be jolly, be cheerful, be happy, be jolly, be cheerful.